Luke stood at the edge of the landing platform, looking down at the Earth below. He had never seen the planet so close before. His ship had traveled many light years to answer a call from humans who needed help. The signal was strange and urgent. It spoke of a great terror that no one had seen before. Luke was from a small human colony on a distant planet. Life there was quiet and safe, but when the call came, he could not ignore it. He was young, but strong, curious, and brave. He packed his things quickly and joined a small group of humans ready to go to Earth. They were all different, but they shared one goal: to stand with humans on Earth and face whatever was coming. Queen Claire was the leader on Earth. She was a woman with calm eyes and steady hands. People trusted her. She had seen many battles before, but nothing like this. The Queen had sent the call out, hoping other humans would hear and come to help. When Luke landed, the air smelled different.
Ow.
The city was quiet, but tense.
Yo.
People moved fast, preparing for a fight. Men in uniform marched through the streets. They looked strong and ready. Luke met one of them, a soldier named Jack. Jack showed Luke around and told him what was happening. This terror, Jack said, is not like any enemy we have fought. It hides in the dark and attacks without warning. It feeds on fear. Luke nodded, trying to understand. He had heard stories about strange creatures in space, but this was different. The humans here were scared, but they did not give up. They worked together, helped each other, and prepared for what was coming. Queen Claire called a meeting with all the leaders. Luke was invited to join. The Queen spoke clearly. "You must stand strong," she said. "Fear is the enemy's weapon. We must not let it win." The group listened closely. Plans were made to protect the cities and keep people safe. Luke saw how much the humans cared for each other. They were not perfect, but they were united. That night, Luke walked through the streets with Jack. The city lights were dim, and shadows moved oddly. The terror was out there waiting. Luke felt a chill, but held his head high. "Are you afraid?" Jack asked. "Yes," Luke said honestly. "Good," Jack smiled. "Fear means you are alive, but do not let it control you." Luke learned fast. He trained with the soldiers every day. He learned how to use their weapons and move quietly. He listened to stories about past fights and how humans had won against impossible odds. Queen Claire visited the training grounds. She watched the group with careful eyes. Luke saw respect in her look. She was not just a leader, she was one of them. As days passed, Luke felt stronger. He understood more about what it meant to be human. It was not just about strength or skill, it was about hope. Even in the darkest times, humans found a way to keep going. One evening, Luke stood with Queen Claire on a high hill outside the city. They looked at the stars. "This terror will come soon," the Queen said softly, "but we will stand together. We will fight." Luke looked at her and felt a new kind of courage. He was not just a visitor anymore. He was part of this fight. He would stand with humans and he would discover what true terror really was. Luke woke up early the next day. The sun was just rising, but the city was already busy. People moved fast, getting ready for what was coming. Luke felt the weight of the coming fight on his shoulders. He had learned that this terror was more than a simple enemy. It was something darker and more dangerous. Jack met Luke at the training center. "Today," Jack said, "you will see why we fight. The terror is not like anything you have faced before." They walked to a place on the edge of the city. Here, the buildings were broken and burned. Signs of the terror's first attack. Luke looked carefully. There was silence, but the fear was strong. Queen Claire joined them. She looked at the damage and then at Luke. "This terror feeds on fear," she said. "It does not need to kill many. It wants to break our minds. It wants us to lose hope." Luke felt a chill. He'd never thought about fear as a weapon, but here it was real. The Queen explained how the terror attacked at night, when people were alone and scared. It showed them visions of their worst fears. Some people lost their minds. Others disappeared without a trace. "We must be ready," Queen Claire said. "The only way to fight this is with strength and hope." Luke trained harder. Every day, he and the soldiers practiced fighting in the dark. They learned how to stay calm when the terror tried to scare them. Luke saw how human men and women did not give up, even when the nights were long and full of fear. One night, Luke had his first real battle. The terror came close to the city. It attacked the outer defenses with strange sounds and shadows. Luke and the soldiers stood ready. He held his weapon tight, his heart pounding. The terror moved fast and changed shape. It tried to scare them with visions of failure and loss. Luke saw his own fears, a world destroyed, friends lost.
Ow.
But he remembered Queen Claire's words. Hope is stronger than fear. He fought back. He shouted to the soldiers to hold the line. They did not move. Together, they pushed the terror back, using lights and noise to break its power. After the battle, Luke was tired but proud. He had faced true terror and not run away. Queen Claire came to him. "You did well," she said. "This is only the beginning." Days passed, and the terror attacked more often. Each time, Luke saw how humans fought with everything they had. The men and women worked as one, sharing their fears but never letting them win. Luke met a girl named Emma. She was a fighter like him, brave and strong. Emma told Luke stories about her family and how they had survived other battles. She said that humans were made to fight even when hope seemed lost. "Fear is a part of us," Emma said, "but it does not control us. We choose to stand and fight." Luke felt stronger with Emma by his side. They trained together, watched each other's backs, and shared quiet moments between battles. Queen Claire prepared a plan. She knew the terror's source was deep inside a dark forest outside the city. She wanted to strike there, to end the terror at its root. Luke and a small team were chosen for the mission. The team was made of the best fighters, including Jack and Emma. They were scared, but they knew the mission was important. Before they left, Queen Claire gave them a gift. A simple charm to remind them of hope and courage. "We stand together," she said, "and together, we are strong." Luke looked at the charm and felt new courage. Terror was real, and it was coming for them. But he would stand with humans, fight with all his heart, and never give up. Luke and the team moved quietly through the dark forest. The trees were tall and thick. The air was cold and still. Every step felt heavy, as if the forest was watching them. Jack walked close to Luke, keeping his weapon ready. Emma stayed near the back, her eyes sharp and alert. Queen Claire's plan was clear. They had to find the terror's source and stop it before it could hurt more people. The team knew the danger was great. No one spoke much. Fear was close, but they held it back. After hours of walking, they reached a clearing. The ground was black and cracked. Strange shadows moved in the corners of Luke's eyes. The terror was near. Luke felt his heart beat faster. He looked at his friends and saw the same fear, but also the same will to fight. Suddenly, the terror attacked. It came out of the shadows like smoke, changing shape and size, tried to confuse them, showing visions of their worst fears. Luke saw a vision of the city burning and people crying. Emma saw her family lost. Jack saw himself alone and weak. But they did not fall. Luke remembered Queen Claire's words about hope and courage. He shouted to the team to stay close and fight together. They used their weapons and lights to fight the terror's dark shapes. The terror hissed and tried to slip away, but the team was strong. Luke fought hard, his hands steady and his mind clear. The terror was a force of fear, but the team's will was stronger. Slowly, the terror began to lose power. It screamed and tried to break their minds, but the team kept moving forward. At the center of the clearing, they found the heart of the terror. It was a dark, pulsing mass that fed on fear. Queen Claire had told them this was the source. If they destroyed it, the terror would lose its hold on the city. Emma stepped forward with a heavy weapon. She aimed and fired. The dark mass shook, but did not fall. Jack joined her, using a special device to weaken the terror's power. Luke stayed close, ready to protect his friends. The terror fought back, sending waves of fear at them. Luke felt a cold chill but held on, shouted words of hope and strength to the team. Their voices joined as one, pushing back the darkness. Then Queen Claire appeared. She had followed them to the clearing. Her eyes were fierce and full of fire. She took the lead, moving close to the terror's heart. With a strong blow, she struck the dark mass. The terror howled and shrank. Queen Claire's courage gave the team new strength. They attacked together, breaking the terror's hold. The dark mass cracked and finally exploded into shadows that faded with the dawn. The forest grew calm. The air felt lighter. Luke looked at Queen Claire and saw pride and relief in her face. The terror was defeated, but the cost was clear. Queen Claire was tired, but stood tall. She looked at her team and nodded. "We did it together," she said. "Fear will never win if we stand as one." Luke felt something new inside him. He was not just a visitor or a fighter. He was part of something bigger, a family of humans who stood against darkness and never gave up. As they walked back to the city, Luke looked at Emma and Jack. He smiled, tired but proud. The fight was not over, but they had won a great battle. Queen Claire's words stayed with Luke. Hope is stronger than fear. Courage comes from standing with others. And true terror is not just a monster. It is the choice to give up. Luke decided then that he would never give up. He would stand with humans, fight with all his heart, and protect the hope that kept them alive. Luke and the team returned to the city after the battle in the forest. The people welcomed them with hope. Queen Claire spoke to the crowd, telling them the terror was weak, but not gone. The fight was not over. Luke felt the weight of their words. The terror had shown its power, but the humans had shown more. He looked at Emma and Jack, both tired but ready for what was next. Queen Claire gathered the leaders again. She said the terror was changing. It would come back stronger and more dangerous. They had to prepare. The city worked day and night to rebuild and strengthen. Humans trained harder, knowing the next fight would test them all. Luke helped where he could, learning more about the human way. It was not just about weapons, but about heart. One night, Luke stayed on the city wall, watching the dark sky. The terror's attacks had slowed, but the fear stayed. He thought about his family far away and the new friends he had made here. Emma joined him quietly. "Do you think we will win?" she asked. Luke looked at the stars. "I do not know," he said, "but I believe we will." They spoke of hope and courage, knowing these were their real weapons. The terror returned sooner than they expected. This time it attacked the city center. Shadows moved like smoke, reaching for people's minds. The air was filled with fear. Luke and the team ran to the heart of the attack. They fought with everything they had. Queen Claire led them through the chaos, her voice calm and strong. The terror tried to break them with visions of loss and pain. Luke saw faces of friends who might never return, but he held on to the hope Emma had spoken of. In the fight, Jack was wounded. Luke helped him back to safety. "Stay strong," Luke said. "We need you." The battle was long and hard. The terror seemed to know their fears and used them to its advantage. But the humans would not give up. Queen Claire made a plan to trap the terror. It would use a device to block its power. The device needed time to charge. Luke and the team had to protect it. They formed a circle around the device, fighting off shadows and whispers that tried to break their minds. The terror attacked again and again, but the humans stood firm. As the device charged, Luke saw Queen Claire fighting close by. She was fearless, moving through the dark with purpose. Finally, the device lit up, sending a bright wave through the city. The terror screamed and faded. Its hold on the people broke. The city was safe again, but the cost was clear. Many were hurt, and the fear was still there. Queen Claire stood with her people, promising they would rebuild and stay strong. Luke felt a deep respect for the humans. They fought not just with weapons, but with hope and love for each other. This was their true power. Emma smiled at Luke. "We are not perfect," she said, "but we never stopped trying." Luke knew the fight was not over. The terror might return, but humans would be ready. He looked at Queen Claire, the queen who led with courage and heart. He knew he would stand with humans for as long as he lived. The city was quiet now. The terror was gone, and people began to rebuild their lives. Luke walked through the streets, seeing hope return to the faces around him. The fight had changed everyone. It had shown what humans could do when they stood together. Queen Claire stood with her people, strong and proud. She had led them through the darkest times, and now looked to the future. She spoke to Luke one afternoon as the sun set behind the hills. "You have been with us through this fight," she said. "What do you see now?" Luke thought for a moment. "I see strength," he said. "Not just in battle, but in hope, courage, and trust. Humans have a power others do not understand." Queen Claire smiled. "This is our true strength. It is why we survive." Luke decided he would stay on Earth. He had learned much, But more than that, he had found a place to stand. The people, the Queen, Emma, Jack, they were his family now. Emma came to him one morning. "The terror may be gone," she said, "but the world is not safe. There will be other fights. We must be ready." Luke nodded. "And we will be together." Days turned to weeks, and the city grew stronger. Humans worked side by side, rebuilding homes, helping each other heal. Luke helped train new fighters, sharing what he had learned. Queen Claire created a council to prepare for any future dangers. Luke was part of it. They planned defenses, shared knowledge, and built a future without fear. One night, Luke stood on a hill with Emma and Jack. The stars shone bright above them. They were quiet for a while, thinking about all they had been through. "We faced true terror," Jack said finally. "And we did not run," Emma smiled. "Because we stood with each other." Luke looked up at the sky. He felt hope like never before. Humans were strong because they never gave up. They faced fear and found courage. The day he stood with humans, Luke discovered that true terror was not just a monster outside. It was the choice to give in to fear and lose hope. But humans chose differently. They chose to stand tall, to fight together, and to believe in a better tomorrow. And that was a power no terror could ever break.